back again, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's about to happen on the pitch. Well, welcome to Weekend Sports on HOD TV Radio with your host Ima. The heat is on and the action continues, as right now we are having Manchester and Arsenal. They are slugging it out at the top of the table. So who do you think is going to win that league? Because right now we are having Arsenal, they are playing Fulham today, and on Monday they are going to have Man City playing on Crystal Palace. But it's going to be a very, very, very peculiar situation, because right now Arsenal wants to win the league, and they also want to win the Champions League. So I want you to comment, please, who do you think will win this league? Do you think that Arsenal will defeat Fulham? Because Fulham, they are a very troublesome side, because Fulham that I know, they can disturb. But Crystal Palace too, they can also disturb. So let's see, who do you think will win or lose this weekend's fixtures? Because whosoever, if Arsenal lost these fixtures, come on, they've lost that league. So let's see how it goes. Moving over to Spain. Right now we are seeing Spain, they are having a very decisive league already for Barca, because right now Barcelona, they are already the league champions, and Real Madrid are trying to reduce the gap and consolidate on their place in the table. So let's see, do you think that Barca, they are going to defeat Osasuna this weekend? Because Osasuna is a very tough team to play. Osasuna is at home, and considering that Yamal is already out on injury. Or do you think that Real Madrid are going to defeat Espanyol? Meanwhile, Real Madrid has been off form, so let's see how that goes. Please put your comment section. Barca is already the league champions. So who do you think will win this fixtures match between Osasuna versus Barca or Madrid versus Espanyol? I want to see your comment section. Now we'll move over to the fixtures for this weekend. We're having in the EPL, we're having Brentford is going to take on West Ham, and Wolves taking on Sunderland. Newcastle is taking on Brighton. Well, that match is going to be very interesting. A very wonderful match to watch this weekend, because it always promises to be a very goal-scoring match. So let's see how that goes. Then the big one for today is Arsenal taking on Fulham. Do you think that Fulham is going to upset Arsenal, or Arsenal is going to find a way to win that match? Please comment on the comment section. Then for tomorrow we have Bournemouth is taking on Palace. Then we have Man U is taking on Liverpool. Aston Villa is taking on Tottenham. Chelsea is taking on Nottingham Forest on Monday. And that same one we have Everton is taking on Man City. Let's see how that goes. Do you think that Aston Villa is going to make Tottenham to go down the table the more, or Tottenham they are going to do a miracle by defeating Arsenal so that they can survive the relegation battle? Because relegation battle right now is tough there. So let's see how that goes. So we move over right now to Spain. Spain, we have Osasuna is taking on Barca. That match is going to be a very wonderful match. So let's see how Osasuna is going to really withstand the pressure from Barca. Then we have Valencia taking on Atletico Madrid. Well, I don't expect much from that match, because Atletico Madrid are going to rest most of their players. They have the match to play by the weekday, which is on Wednesday. They have the match to play, which is against Arsenal. So do you think that Atletico Madrid, they are going to still perform a miracle to Valencia, because they are going to Valencia? So then we have Villarreal is taking on Levante. Alaves is taking on Atletico Bilbao. Then for tomorrow we have Celta is taking on Elche. We have Getafe is taking on Rayo Vallecano. Real Betis is playing Real Oviedo. And tomorrow we have Espanyol is playing Real Madrid. Then the hot match for this weekend is going to be on Monday, Sevilla versus Real Sociedad. So we move over to the next feature, which is that of the Serie A. That Serie A is looking to be a very interesting league, because Como, they are trying their best to enter the top 4. But let's see how that goes. Udinese is taking on Torino. Como is playing at home to Napoli. Wow. Atalanta is taking on Genoa. Bologna is taking on Cagliari tomorrow. Sassuolo is playing AC Milan. Juventus is playing Verona, and Inter Milan is playing Parma. On Monday we have Cremonese playing Lazio, and Roma versus Fiorentina. So we move straight over to the Bundesliga, and in the Bundesliga we have the likes of Frankfurt versus Hamburg today, Hoffenheim versus Stuttgart. We have Bayern Munich versus Heidenheim. Now Bayern Munich, they are going to rest most of their players and still expect them to score more goals, where they are already the champions of that league. So let's see how that goes. Then we have Werder Bremen versus Augsburg. Then Union Berlin versus Cologne. Then the later part of today's feature, which is Saturday, we have Leverkusen versus Leipzig. Then tomorrow, St. Pauli versus Mainz, Mönchengladbach versus Dortmund, and SC Freiburg versus Wolfsburg. So we move over to the next, which is the League One. Yes, there's a very promising, interesting features there. PSG versus Lorient. PSG, they are trying their best to make sure that they defeat Bayern Munich because it was a very interesting features. And I know that you watched that match. It was really interesting. 5-4, they won Bayern Munich. But do you think that right now that PSG will defeat Lorient at home because they will rest most of their stars for the weekday feature against Bayern Munich? Where I think that PSG, this match might be difficult for them. They might not do much, and I'm tipping a draw in that match. Let's see how that goes. Metz versus Monaco. Nice versus Lens. Now Lens, they are trying to fight for at least the second place or get close to PSG because PSG is stopping them by 6 points. If PSG lost their match today and Lens wins their match today, Lens will reduce the gap to 3 points. So let's see how that goes. Then tomorrow we have Lille versus Lyon. Then we have Strasbourg versus Toulouse, Auxerre versus Angers, Paris FC versus Brest, and Lyon versus Reims. So that's the fixtures for this weekend. Please, I want you to comment. Do you think that Arsenal and Man City, who do you think is going to win that match? Because right now, Arsenal versus Fulham, that match is a little bit tricky. Because Fulham, they are a very troublesome component. Yes, so they can really disturb. They have the likes of our brother there, Bassi, players that can read Chukwueze, that can cause offset. So do you think the Arsenal can survive this, or because they will try to avoid picking a draw, right? Because any draw right now, Man City will just win the league. So I want to hear I want to see your comment and see how your view about this match right now. So please like, share, and subscribe to Weekend Sports on HOD TV and Radio, and see you there. Thanks for watching this Weekend Sports once again by your host Emmanuel. So catch you on the next one.